Are you considering upgrading your current Wyze doorbell for the Wyze Duo Cam Doorbell? Or perhaps you're just looking for that first video doorbell to smarten up your home. I'll be taking an in-depth look at this doorbell, everything from general hardware to setup and everything that you can do with the application, as well as a battery of testing. I'm Wanderer 001. Let's get into it. Starting off with the general specifications of the Wyze Duo Cam Doorbell, or just Wyze Duo Doorbell. However, we're going to land on, you are looking at the doorbell itself, 5.9 inches tall, with a width of 1.8 inches and a depth of 1.18 inches, making it realistically one of the thinner dual cam doorbell setups that I've tested. On the front, up here at the top, this does remind me of the camera on the Wyze Cam version 3, just with the way that things look. Starting at the top, at either side of the lens itself, you have a set of 4 IR lights, and then on the bottom, another set of 2 IR lights for the downward facing lens. These are 850 nanometer IR lights. Coming down the front of our camera, on either side down here, you have your PIR sensor. This is a heat-based motion sensor because, yes, this is a battery camera first, so you need to have those sensors in order for it to pick up motion and send you alerts. Just under the lens, you have an ambient light sensor as well as your microphone. Coming back up to our lens, you are looking at a 2K 2048 by 1536 resolution. You also have 8 times digital zoom, where you can pinch to zoom on your screen to look at something. It's not going to be optical, but it's not terrible. Our bottom lens, you are looking at a 1920 by 1080, so this is going to be your 2K. This is going to be your HD. For our field of views, the top camera has a 132 degree horizontal and 100 degree vertical, and the bottom has a 121 degree horizontal and 60 degree vertical. But in your video that you get from this, you kind of get a combination of the two, which is one of the nicer things about a dual setup like this. And if you view the live feed, you can kind of zoom in on either or to pick which one you prefer to be your primary view. The FPS that you're going to get from either lens is 20 during the day and 15 at night. One interesting thing that I did come across when I was testing out this doorbell is that while recorded video, meaning I press the record, will always give me a single video with both of the videos kind of stitched together into one video output. If you ring the doorbell, what will happen is that you will get 3 videos when you download that clip. One being a combination of the both at 1600 by 2280, one just for the top at 1600 by 1200, and then one for the bottom at 1600 by 1080. Notice that bottom one is slightly different than the full 1920 by 1080, which is stated for the HD. I came across that and hadn't seen any other reviewers bring that up, so I wanted to make sure I brought that to your attention. It's an interesting quirk, I'll call it. But if you think about it and you just want the video from the bottom so that you can see that package that was lying on your doorstep without all the extras, that's a neat option to have. You might have noticed there's a very large circle on the front here, which also has a nice accent around it. It's not the Wyze blue, which kind of made me a little upset because it's kind of a standard blue LED. I wish they would have kept the Wyze coloring, but that's okay. It's a nice large button. There's no mistaking this button for the camera lens up there, which I always am appreciative of with a smart doorbell. Taking a quick look at the bottom there, you could see your HD lens as well as where your 2 IR lights are and your speaker. Coming around to the back, we have our reset button right up here. Kind of at the top, you have your locking mechanism. That's what's behind this door here. Up here, we have hardwire ports so that you can use your pre-existing wiring, not for the Chime box, but for charging the battery. If you do opt to use the hardwire and the battery, you can get 24/7 recording, which is kind of a nice feature because if you just use the battery, you only have clip recording. Here we can see our battery. This is a 6200 milliamp battery that Wyze says will give you about 3 to 6 months of usage, which is very objective depending on if you live on a busy street, how many people walk past your house, and what you're actually triggering your doorbell for. What do I mean? Well, I was able to kill this battery in about a week during heavy testing, and then within 3 weeks using moderate testing. The one good thing with the battery is that it is removable. So if you happen to have two batteries, you can swap them to make sure that your doorbell constantly stays on your door. Now, why do I say that? Well, because to charge this 6200 milliamp battery took me between 7 to 10 hours. That is a long time to be without a doorbell on my front door. Over here on the side of the battery, you have indicator lights letting you know the charging status. When it's full, you'll see 2 green lights on the side. And just under the battery, there is your micro SD card slot. Wyze did the wise thing of making the SD card much harder to get to than on their other doorbell camera review over there in the corner. They had it on the side, easily accessible to anybody who took the time to look. Good on you, Wyze, for putting it in there. You can have up to a 256 gigabyte SD card for that continuous recording or your clip recordings. The doorbell itself operates on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi spectrum. So if you have this close enough to your Wi-Fi router and want to have those faster speeds, you could do so, which I believe is a first for Wyze. Operating temperature of the doorbell is -4 degrees Fahrenheit up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. It is also IP65 weather rated, and thankfully, the weather's been really weird and I haven't gotten snow yet, but I did get a lot of rain. So I was able to test the doorbell out in the rain. As you can see, and as you might expect, rain doesn't bother it in the least. The doorbell is only part of the system that you get from Wyze. The other part is the Wyze Chime, as the Chime box that you may have in your home already will not work. You'll need your Wyze digital chime. It is 3 inches in height, 2 inches in width, and has a depth of 1 inch. If we take a quick look around, there is the speaker on the front, an LED status light, and then our setup/pairing button on the side, and then nothing really to look at on the back. This does not have any hardware controls on it, as I've seen with some other brands of doorbell chimes. You cannot control the volume, you cannot cycle through the different sound effects. That all has to be done through the application. Now, because this does use power as compared to its battery doorbell that it pairs with, you may be wondering, what is the power consumption? Well, when idling, meaning nothing is happening, it uses 5 watts of power. When you ring the doorbell at volume 4, it can go up to 1.1 watts of power, depending on which ring sound you are using. Curious to know what chime sounds you have? Let me show you. Now, while this will not work with your pre-existing Chime box, the digital chime that you get with the doorbell is not the only option that you have. You can use this with Amazon Echo devices
Wyze Duo Cam Doorbell.
and other Wyze cams to have them act as a chime as well. So that is a neat trick that Wyze has done for this doorbell. However, the chime itself and the doorbell aren't the only things that you get with this setup. Let me show you what else you get. Got a quick start guide, back sticker if you do it early enough, the digital chime, battery, the doorbell itself. We've got our flat mounting plate and then our angled mounting plate, USB-C to USB-A charging cable, flat cable. Here's our bag of mounting hardwares, the extender leads, and then kind of like your ejector sim tool to get the doorbell out, and some 3M sticky tape if you don't want to drill anything. Now that we've seen everything that comes with it, what's next? That's setup. I'll admit, for a Wyze product, it was fairly straightforward and pretty simple, but if this is your first time setting something like this up, let me show you what it was like. Setup of Wyze Duo Cam video doorbell. Gonna start by putting in the battery. We're gonna get a red indicator and a ready to connect. We then come over to our Wyze application. Make sure that we're not in a camera. Press the plus sign in the upper right. We're gonna add a device. Camera sensor power lighting. This is a camera, which is right up top. We already put the battery in and we got a red light. So we're gonna hit next. Now we have to press the reset button here for 5 seconds, which I restored to factory settings, but we had a ready to connect before. There we go. We'll do that again. begin setup. It's going to search for this device, pairing device. It's looking for a network, flashing red and blue. Which one do we want to do? Going to do my IoT network. Typed in the password, letting it do its thing. Said Wi-Fi connected. Hopefully you heard that. And that's it getting connected to my Alex A. Now let's start installing. So it's going to walk you through the installation process, or you could skip this altogether, but we'll quickly go and see. Okay, so you can do either battery or using existing wiring. I'm going to do the battery quick, straight ahead or angled. It's kind of giving you an idea what to look for. 2 mounting screws. So you use a 3M tape for the 2 mounting screws. I'll use the screws, find your flat surface, put them into the thing, snap in, and you're good. And it's asking you to name your camera. I think I'm going to leave it as is. And this is going to be located in my front door. And we're going to add this to our favorites and finish. So to get the most out of this, you are going to want to have a Cam Plus subscription. So I'm going to continue to attach this to our plan, letting us know, hey, it's been successfully done. I have 1 subscription that I move around my cameras. So from here, things to try beforehand, create and edit device groups or share this device. I'm not going to do either. I'm just going to skip this and I'm going to say yes, finish, and I'm all set and I am done. There is a firmware update. So we're going to update that firmware right now, as you should when you first get a device. We'll let that run and come back when it's done. Once completed, I got a notification that firmware was updated successfully. We're going to hit done, and then we can select start our live stream. And there you can see both the top and bottom views right there, as well as the timeline. But that has been set up of the Wyze Duo Cam Doorbell. Now let's do the Chime. To set up the Chime, we're going to need a power source. So we have it over here. We're going to select our plus sign, add a device. This is actually under home, and right up here at the top, Wyze Wi-Fi Chime. So let's get started. Next, we're going to plug in the Chime. It says ready to connect and it's blinking red. We're going to hit next. It's asking, did we hear that? I'm going to say yes. We're going to hit next. And now it's searching for our device. We'll give that a moment. Pairing wants to know the Wi-Fi network. Once we give that a second, I'm going to select my IoT network, and it remembers my password this time. So I'm going to hit connect. So it said set up completely. I'm assuming that's completed. Didn't finish the check marks, but we're going to hit next. We're going to leave it with its current name of Wyze Wi-Fi Chime. And this will be our living room, and finish. So we can share this device, which we're not going to do. We're going to hit skip and finish. Now let's connect it to a Wyze device. We're going to hit next. It wants to know which of my many devices does it want. We're going to select front door, and then we can do if pressed, if motion detected, and then here are our premium features. So we're just going to leave it as if pressed right now, and we could set up a schedule, but we're going to hit save and continue. We're going to leave it at its default of 4. Save and continue one more time and finish. So here's our Chime information. And if we bring our doorbell over,
Someone's at the Wyze Duo Cam Doorbell.
got all the things ringing. So that was setup of the Wyze Chime. As for installation, myself, I was using this as a battery powered, meaning I didn't have to tap into the wires in my home, which made installation very simple. All you have to do is pick your appropriate mounting plate, measure where you'd like the holes to go, put the plate in place, screw into place, and then simply snap your doorbell into the desired location. You can either have the flat plate or you can have the angled plate, depending on your need. And if you install it that way, it is ridiculously simple. One thing that the Wyze Video Doorbell does that I've only seen on a handful of other video doorbells is VoIP, or voice over IP. Rather than just getting a notification on your phone, the doorbell, once set up via the application, can actually make a call to your phone, allowing you to speak to whoever's on the other end that much faster. All that and more are controlled through the Wyze application. So let's take a look. This is the application for the Wyze Cam Duo Video Doorbell, as well as Doorbell Chime. We can access the Doorbell Chime from within the Video Duo, so we'll take a look at that momentarily. Right here we have the name of the doorbell, as well as an icon indicating that I have the Wyze Cam subscription, as well as a battery indicator. Right now you'll notice that it's not actively playing the live feed. There is an option to have it automatically start the live feed. When you come in here, I like to preserve my battery, so I have to tap that in order for it to actually start playing, especially since it loads up all of your Wyze cameras now. It's a good idea to keep that on pause. To get to the rest of our options, we simply tap to access. And then right here, we can see again, because I have this option turned off, I have to tap again in order to start the live feed. That is because I'm utilizing this in its battery state, not in its wired state. And here we have our 2 video angles. Simply double tapping will allow you to zoom in on the top, but you can see our lower view. I can float that around and put that where I want it while I'm zooming in on things. And you can kind of see how windy it is out there. This is the 2K view, and you can see right here, this is actually giving you a little preview of where you are in that zoom in. And then double tap brings it all the way back out. We do have an indicator for live, a battery percentage, and then our switch for 2K and SD 1080, and then back up to 2K. This icon here will allow us to switch it to horizontal view, giving us more screen real estate. And then as we come down, if I tap, we have the ability to toggle on and off the microphone, and then toggle on and off the audio. To the right of our audio on and off, it's kind of tricky to see because it's hidden behind the date, and you have to tap on it. There's 3 dots. This will allow you to take a still photo of whatever you see. This will also allow you to record whatever you see. As you can see right there, it's recording. I can tap that and now it stops. I can hit view and I can view that immediately. We also have a siren. I can hit siren. Now the siren's going off outside. I'm gonna turn that off very quickly because I don't think my neighbors would appreciate that. You also have responses. Well, here we go. You've got a bunch of responses.
Can I help you? Be there shortly. Please leave the package at the door. Hi, you are currently being recorded.
I wouldn't call these quick responses because they're hidden, again, in that corner. Don't really like the fact they're hidden down there. And then I can select albums, which would show you all the pictures where it's saving these. There's other pictures in there, so not going to show you that. Just underneath that, we have SD card, which will bring us to the feed from the SD card. I'm going to select back. That will also bring you into the 24/7 recording if you have this hardwired. To the right of that, if I select, this actually changes the event view. So here, this is our chronological time view, and you can see me in my testing that I was doing earlier today. This will give you more of a thumbnail view. Notice it gives you both the view, if I bring this up, for the top camera and bottom camera, even if you're looking at it in this view. It's a really good feature, and anytime I tap on one of these, I simply tap, pause it. We have the ability to speed up its playback, so I actually have to play it back, but I can do 2, and you can see it's going faster. I can do 4, play it back again, and then go back down to 1. Over here, we have 3 dots. If I select that, I can download, share, delete, or send feedback. And that's all from our view here. I can do this in the timeline view as well. So if I come here and I select this option, there are my 3 dots. I have a filter where I can search for motion, person, package, package delivery, package pickup, vehicle, and then faces. Again, keep in mind, all of these are really going to need the subscription. You also have sound. So sound, talking, crying, meowing, barking, glass shattering, gunshot, and then doorbell press. So for me, let's say I want to say package delivery, and then I can hit apply. Well, here I know this was a package delivery because there was me testing it. I was walking in my package, and then this is a UPS guy for next door. Now, it's not 100% accurate because, and maybe I'll do the pickup one, there is another clip that I had where I was tossing a box. Yeah, so this is all after I chucked the box. So filtering, while nice, it's not 100% accurate. So just keep that in mind. And that's everything we could do for the doorbell controls. Let's move on to setting. Coming up to our settings. Here we have the ability to change the name of the doorbell. We can turn on voice over IP. So if we do this, instead of getting a notification, we'll actually get a voice call. There we go. Then we also have ignore notification status. If you turn this on, if you are ignoring notifications from Wyze, the voice over IP will override that and just push forward. And then you have a schedule. When would you like this to happen? Schedule on, start date, end date, and you can select specific times. If you don't, it'll do it all the time. Next, detection settings. Here we have our detection zones. I have this turned on. Wyze still uses this grid format. It might be a little tricky to see, but these boxes up here are not shaded in. All these down here are, and we're just going to undo those things. This is going to be your detection zone. It's not the best in detection zones. I've tried a lot of other ones that allow you to have a little better control over it, but the fact that they give it to you is a plus. Here we have our motion warning. What's that? Well, if you turn that on, when it detects motion, it will say, you are being recorded. It will do the Wyze tone. Should do it every 10 seconds.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
And then you could set it to repeat every 10 seconds, once per event, or up to 60 seconds. And then schedule all the time, or just like we could before, custom, start time, and end time. After motion warning, we have motion tagging. What this is the green box that appears around a target that is moving on your screen to make it easier to keep track of. We have our motion sensitivity. You have a sliding scale of low to high. Low is going to be things have to be really close to the device in order for it to trigger. High is going to push those out further. If you live on a busy street like I do, you might need to bring that in a little bit because even if you have a motion zone set up, you might get false triggers that way. Next, event recordings. You have to turn on motion. This is the part that annoys me. I have to turn on motion in order to get the smart events. If I have motion off, it won't actually send me a notification. It's a work in progress, it feels like. But you can record all events, or you can select smart events, and then from here, customize the recording. For me, I want people to be recorded and to send me a notification. Pets to be recorded and to send me a notification. Package, I just want to be recorded, but you could do that for all these options. Friendly Faces is a different tier of Cam Plus subscription, so if you've got the base tier like I do, that's not enough. You got to pay more for the Friendly Faces. And coming down, you have your cooldown. Well, I can do no cooldown or up to 5 minutes. I like no cooldown so I can test. And then maximum video length, I have it set for 2 minutes, but you can go all the way up to 5 minutes and as low as 20 seconds. Even with me running around and testing, I've yet to been able to keep the capture where it'll actually do 2 minutes. Notifications, turn on your notifications and then manage. If I select manage, that's going to bring me back to this page here again, where you could select what you want to record and be notified of. And then you have your low battery. I would recommend that just so you know when you're actually getting a low battery. Alarm setting. Well, here we go. We have smoke and CO. These are not as useful, but are kind of baked into the Wyze application itself because, well, this is outside. It's not going to hear a CO alarm. Advanced settings. We have our record to the micro SD card, yes or no. Continuous or events only. Notice if I try and do continuous, it won't let me because it's in battery mode. I have managed the SD card. I can format it from here, and then I can see how much space is left. I can also properly eject the SD card. Keep in mind, don't just go pulling the SD card out. Make sure you eject it. We have night vision mode. We have auto, on, and off. Auto will switch between the two. On, it'll be on all the time, and then off, it will never come on. And then night vision mode type, we have IR lights out. We'll turn on the IR lights. There are the front-facing and downward-facing IR lights to help see everything. Status light, on or off, show timestamp, on or off, show logo, on or off, and then record sound, on or off. You may live in a place where you cannot record audio with your video. This is how you would come in and turn that off. And then we have sync time, which will sync to your phone's time. Chime, well, if I come in here, we have my built-in Chime house. That's the Chime box you might have. Your Wyze Chime or camera Chime. You can use your Wyze cameras as a Chime. So if I select this, Wyze Chime, well, here we go. I have one set up in the living room, and if I do set, I can add, I can select it, which will allow me to do more with this. This is the other way you can get into the Chime. You can enable and disable. What is it attached to? So if front door is pressed, do this, ring the Chime, and then schedule. Well, that's it. And then volume, because the Chime itself is not just for the doorbell. If you think about it, it will work with your Wyze cameras. So if it detects a person, you can have the Chime ring. It's interesting, but that's how you can get to the features. Lock, I don't have a lock, so I can't show you that. Here we have automation. So this is Wyze's automation, which will allow you to set up more if this, then that. So here I have schedules and things of that nature, Christmas lights. I could press the plus sign, add a device, add an automation, add a group, but that's all done through the application overall. Sharing, if I select this, it will allow me to share this device with another user. They'll need to have their own Wyze account. And then device info, lots of sensitive information in there. Not going to show you that. Wyze support, restart your camera, and then reset your camera. And then if you need to, delete your camera down there. And that has been everything that we can do for the Wyze Doorbell Duo using the Wyze app. You may have noticed in the Wyze application that you had options for voice assistant. The doorbell is compatible with Alexa, Google Assistant, and IFTTT. Sadly, no Apple HomeKit. So if that is something that you need for your video doorbell, this is not what you're looking for. Now that we've gotten the hardware and application out of the way, what's next? For me, that's testing. I want to see how well this performs. First being audio. The audio from the doorbell itself is pretty good considering the size of that speaker down there, as well as the audio that you get from the doorbell into the application. Let's take a listen.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2,
cocktails by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a bag of peppers. 1, test 2, test 3, and test. And it's breezy, so hopefully they're coming. And just because somebody mentioned it previously, here's a ring test. Next, we move on to video. Because this outputs 2K video, I will have that in a separate video over there for the raw video footage, not downscaled for this video. However, what I will say is video during the day is sharp and clear, no real pixelation on either the top or bottom camera, and color looks good with no oversaturation or blowout. In low light, using its starlight sensor, sharpness in the picture is lost, but you can still see shapes pretty well and color. There is also noticeable ghosting. For nighttime, using the IR, the image does look sharp with limited pixelation and ghosting. However, the IR lights seem to overexpose a person's face, as you can see here, making it harder to see detail in their face when they are closer to the doorbell. Is that a deal breaker? No. It could just be my particular situation when testing. After that, we come to detection speed. Even though this is a battery-powered camera, I want to make sure that it sends a notification in a timely fashion. And while I will admit it did take a little longer than some other battery-powered cameras, I will say that the 10-ish seconds that it took to push the notification to my phone was not terrible at all. Let me show you. Notification speed test number 3 on 5G. Get to that corner, that's where it normally sees me. Gonna hit the start button right there, walk right up to it, and wait for the notification to pop up. It has a 0 cooldown, but it's taking its sweet time. I don't know if that's a network connect. There we go. All right, it looks to be about 10 to 11 seconds. I take a little bit to click the button. One other test that I ran for this camera, because it has a downward facing camera, was porch fire it. Somebody running up to my door and taking a package off of my doorstep. Let me show you those results. I was actually surprised that it got as much as it did. I've had other battery-powered cameras that only got the person as they turned around and were leaving. So the fact that it caught it pretty much the entire time was very good to see. Now, even though it performed well on that test, there are a few cons that I want to bring to your attention for this doorbell. First being, and I didn't mention it before, this video doorbell, you really need a Cam Plus subscription in order for person detection, package detection, vehicle detection. While Wyze's subscription is cheaper than some other options out there, the fact that you have to purchase a subscription on top of your hardware, while there are other manufacturers that don't charge you for those person, pet, and vehicle detection, make it not necessarily a bait and switch, but a added expense that you should be aware of. Speaking of that added expense, during the setup process, it was unclear that I was signing up for a monthly subscription. I already have a yearly subscription for Cam Plus, which I was just going to put onto this doorbell via testing. And you might have noticed while I was going through the setup, it asked about Cam Plus. Well, lo and behold, it signed me up for the monthly subscription and didn't really say anything after the fact until I saw it hit my credit card. So Wyze, you need to do a better job of letting people opt out of that, or if they already have a subscription, make it easier for them to move over. Yes, you need a Cam Plus subscription for this to work at its best, but don't force people right off the bat. One of the things with Cam Plus, and I haven't experienced this with other cameras that I tested that have had Cam Plus, is complete motion capture. It spams me with complete motion capture, complete motion capture. I get it. You captured a complete motion clip. Wyze, I want a way to turn that off, because in the application itself, it was not very clear how to do that. And I have tested a lot of Wyze cameras. Playlist over there. And my last con for this camera is the hidden menu system that Wyze has introduced for this video doorbell. Unlike other video doorbells, the original video doorbell, the video doorbell 2, the video doorbell Pro, all of which I've tested, to get to the recording option, it's buried under an extra menu, meaning I can't just open up my camera and select record. I have to open up my camera, hit 3 dots, and then I can hit record. That extra step can be the difference between catching somebody in the act and having to go back and scrub through footage later. That's a UI fix. That could be fixed in firmware in the future, just saying. Overall, if you're in the Wyze ecosystem, then you're most likely going to like this doorbell. It's a nice step up from even the Wyze Cam Pro, in my opinion, because it has the downward-facing camera, allowing you to see boxes or packages or animals walking close to your door. Chances are, if you're already in the Wyze ecosystem, then you also most likely have a Cam Plus subscription already, which is one of the things I did not really care for about this doorbell. However, if that is the case, then you already know what you're getting into, and this doorbell is exactly what you've been looking for. If you don't have a Wyze Cam Plus subscription, this might not be the doorbell you're looking for, and there are other options out there that have a similar form factor that you don't need to pay a subscription for those AI triggers. However, if this does sound like the doorbell you've been looking for, I will have a link where you can pick one up in the description area below. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making comprehensive videos like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Still not sure if this is the right battery-powered video doorbell for you? On screen now, you'll see 2 other reviews that I've done to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.